Welcome to Montage Microchurch Network, where we are making disciples by loving Jesus and loving people. This series will explore the letters Paul wrote to churches while he was in prison: Galatians, Ephesians, Philippians, and Colossians. Join us while we wrestle with and apply these amazing letters to our lives. I want to start with something a little strange, but stay with me. Some of you remember overhead projectors, right? If you don't, it just means you're younger and you still have knees that work, right? We used to put these clear sheets on these overhead projectors, shine a light through, and suddenly everyone could see the lyrics or the notes up on the wall. So imagine that thing humming away, bright light blazing, and sitting on it are a few of those little pill bugs, those roly-polies. And they're just crawling around doing their thing, not aware of the light, they're not aware of the room, they're definitely not aware that a bunch of people are watching them and silently rooting for one of them to fall off the edge first. They're just living their teeny bug lives. And that's kind of Paul's point in Ephesians 3. Right? We move through our days focused on what's right in front of us. Conversations, conflicts, stress, calendars, church stuff, family stuff, sports stuff, news cycles that feel like this daily emotional hostage situation. And most of the time, we have no idea that there is something much bigger happening around us. And Paul is saying here, there is a whole unseen world watching what God is doing through his people. And most of us walk around as unaware of that as those bugs on the overhead projector. Well, in Ephesians 3, Paul pulls back the curtain just enough to say, you need to know this, not to freak you out, but to wake you up. Paul starts by reminding them that he's in prison, but what's wild is how little time he spends talking about himself. Right? If I was the one writing from prison, you'd get a paragraph about my food and my mattress and just how unjust the whole thing is. Paul barely even mentions that. He basically says, don't worry about me. This is part of something bigger. That alone messes with me. He says God gave him insight into something that had been hidden for ages. Not hidden because God forgot to explain it, but hidden because the timing wasn't right yet. Even the prophets didn't see this coming clearly. Angels didn't see it. Demons definitely didn't. And the mystery is this: Jews and Gentiles, people who historically hated each other, are now being fused into one family in Christ. Not loosely affiliated with one another, not just politically coexisting, one body. Paul says this wasn't just for our benefit, and that's the part that undoes him. He says God's plan is that through the church, the manifold wisdom of God would now be made known to the rulers and authorities in the heavenly realms. That's the line that messed him up. And honestly, it kind of messed me up too, because I grew up thinking that church was mostly about what I get out of it. Was the teaching helpful? Was the music good? Did I like the songs? Did it fit my schedule? Did I feel something that time we got together? And don't get me wrong, none of those questions are evil. They're just really incomplete. Yeah. Right? Paul's saying church is actually God's way of showing off his wisdom to the unseen world. That means when we gather together as the church, this isn't just a room full of people singing and listening. This is a living display. It's a declaration. It's a cosmic announcement. And here's why that matters right now. Right? Again, we live in one of the most divided moments most of us can remember. Politics, race, culture, generations, vaccines, masks, social media comment sections that should honestly come with a warning label. Right? Division, it's in the air we breathe, it feels like. And Paul's saying the church was designed to be the one place where division doesn't win. And not because we all agree, not because we're all the same, but because something deeper binds us together. Right? Satan's whole strategy from the beginning has been division. Divide humanity from God. Divide people from each other. Not my fault, it's the woman you gave me, right? Turn preferences into identity. Turn disagreements into exile. So when Jews and Gentiles, people with totally different backgrounds, histories, politics, and baggage come together as one body under Christ, the unseen world takes notice. The demons look at the church and go, that wasn't supposed to work. The angels look at the church and go, so that's what God was planning. Paul's saying the church is living, breathing proof that the cross actually did what God said it would do. This is why Paul, he doesn't lose heart in prison. He knows he's part of something bigger, something eternal, something older than Rome, something bigger than just personal suffering, louder than the chains he's wearing. And this is where it gets personal for me, right? I'm just naturally drawn to churches that are clean and efficient and easy. That's what most of us kind of want. You slip in, you sit down, you worship, you listen, you slip out, minimal friction, minimal awkwardness. Paul says church isn't meant to be frictionless. It's meant to be supernatural. It's meant to be a group of people who, humanly speaking, shouldn't be able to stay unified, but do anyways because the Spirit of God lives in them. That means when we fight for unity, when we forgive instead of withdraw, when we stay instead of leave, when we love people who are honestly annoying us, we're participating in something way bigger than emotional maturity. We're proclaiming the wisdom of God to the unseen realm. We're saying Jesus really did break the power of division. And look at us, we're living proof. Paul ends this section by reminding them that because of Christ, we now have boldness and confident access to God. Not fear, not hesitation, access. Which means the church doesn't gather timidly. We gather confidently, knowing that what God is doing in us matters more than we realize. So when we sing, it's not background music. When we take communion together, it's not just routine. When we choose unity in a divided world or with people who rub us the wrong way, it's not some small thing. It's God saying to the universe, watch this. And the invitation for us, simple, but it's costly. Don't live like those bugs, unaware of the bigger story. Lift your eyes, stay engaged, fight for unity. And remember that what God is doing in and through his people is louder than it looks. So here are questions this week. Paul sees his suffering as part of God's gift to others. How does that idea sit with you? And where does it challenge the way you usually interpret the hardships in your own life? Second, the mystery that Paul talks about is that outsiders are now fully included insiders. Who do you think that truth would have been hardest to accept for in Paul's day? And where do you see that same tension showing up in the church or in our culture today? And lastly, Paul talks about boldness and confident access to God, even when he's imprisoned. What do you think makes confidence with God hard for people today, even when they do believe the gospel? These things, hard to wrestle with, hard to live out. But this is what it looks like to be the church, to fight with and for one another. I love you guys. Thank you for watching. If you would like more content, to connect with us, or to explore more of who we are as a network, visit montagemicro.church.